Alright, guys. So, this is, like I said last night, I really only had ideas for, like, Universal Monster games for, like, three characters. Wolfman, Dracula, and this character, the Phantom of the Opera. So, yeah. So, we're going to be talking about that, and yeah. So, like I said in the previous two videos, I was thinking, like, my basic idea for all of these is that, essentially, if Universal Studios wants to get more of the Universal monsters out there, essentially what I think they should do is go out into the world, really go out there and really, like, showcase, like, them in different forms of media. We have them in theme parks, we have them in movies. I think video games, it should be the next step, is what I'm saying. So, like I said, I've thought about Universal Monster games for both the Wolfman and Dracula. I don't think I'll have other. I don't really have a huge idea for the others, but here for this one, basically for this one, this story is going to this is going to focus on, like I said, the Phantom of the Opera. So yeah. Now, let's talk about, like, what Phantom of the Opera are we using here? Like, what Phantom are we using? The Claude Rains Phantom or the Lon Chaney Phantom? Well, for this one, I thought it would be kind of interesting if we went, like, a different route, like a totally different route altogether, and do something just a wee bit, like, off the beaten path in a way. And what I mean is kind of combined both Rains and Lon Chaney, or better yet, just make a totally different Phantom altogether, like a totally new Phantom for this game series. Now, a lot of this is going to be, I will say right out the gate, that a lot of this game inspiration comes from Assassin's Creed. Like, a lot of it does come from Assassin's Creed. Yeah, I'm just going to tell you guys that right now. Now, how the game's story would focus on Eric, the Phantom, who does survive after the events of the first movie. And essentially what happens is that he has crawled out of his lair, and he's survived, but he now has to find a new home, and he still wants Christine. He still wants to have Christine for himself. But however, he doesn't know where Raoul and Christine have gone to. Like, they've long since left Paris. They're still somewhere in Paris, but he doesn't know where. So, essentially, throughout the game, you have to look for Christine throughout. So, in other words, this doesn't follow the sequel to Phantom of the Opera, Love Never Dies. Yes, that's an actual Broadway musical. Anyway, so, like I said earlier, this game is going to take a lot of inspiration from obviously it's Phantom, from Assassin's Creed. Basically, my thought process is, you get to go around for, like, 18th century France, and it's a free roam game. Like, you can go anywhere in not just France, but, like, just Paris. Like, 18th century Paris, and, explore everything there. You also get to have a lot of the, you get to take in a lot of the sights, the sounds, even a lot of it would be, like I said, Assassin's Creed inspired, where you're kind of like repping from one building to another, kind of like in a parkour kind of way. But you'd also, since this would be more based not on the Broadway play, but more of the, this would be more based off of the books and a little bit of the movies. For those who don't know, in the book, Eric is a trained assassin. That's why he was so good at, like, skulking around in the shadows, which they haven't really done in the movies. Like, they have never really done that in the films in any way, shape, or form. They've really just kind of focused on, what they've really just kind of done is just kind of just make him like, oh, he's just good at hiding. That's really it. But here, we're really going to, for this, we're really going to play with the idea of the Phantom. Like, we're really going to play with the idea of the Phantom being an assassin. In here, you could, create weapons, you can steal material from, ironworks or, shops or whatever, and you could do, a lot of stealth missions, a lot of, hiding in plain sight, and kind of, hunting down the police who are hunting you. I would even have, a part of the story is that after the events of Phantom of the Opera, it was revealed that that Eric really was human. There was no ghost, but there was an actual human. And since they couldn't find a body, there is like one inspector who is like still gung-ho on hunting down the Phantom. And no, you're not going to be an anti-hero in this game. You are straight up a villain. You are, like, that's something I would really hammer home, is that you're not some lovesick, lovesick, misunderstood, misshapen man. No, you're a horrible human being. You are straight up the villain of this. You are not just the protagonist, you are the villain of this fucking story. And, yeah. So, I would have, like, you would go and have missions where you would go into, like, the police station, kill cops, that are trying to find you. I would have it that you would even be public enemy number one, just like stalking the streets. And like I said, going back to the gadgets system in this game would be pretty interesting, because like I said, you'd have to go into shops or houses and steal stuff, kill anyone who would get in your way or you'd be spotted, and more or less like craft your weapons. One of the first missions I would have is like the Phantom finding a new home, because obviously there was that flood that happened that destroyed his original home. So the Phantom, your first mission, just all beat up and stuff, and trying to find like a new place to call home. And in order to do that, you have to go through the streets of Paris, just kind of like sneaking around, avoiding people, especially avoiding cops, and like hiding your face. You would even have to like kill a homeless guy to like take his clothes to look less inconspicuous. The other thing I would have is upgrades. Like the other thing is like the Phantom you could steal material for not just making weapons and gadgets for you to use, but the other useful trinket I would use in this scenario would be that you could actually tailor-make a new costume, like a new suit and cape for you, and even get masks, get new masks. Like obviously you would start with the half mask, but throughout the game, like you could either craft or steal or do missions where you can get new masks for you to wear out at night. The other, as for some weapons, I would have is like the a wrist-mounted Derringer just under the thing. It would fire the more you upgrade, it could fire up to 3 shots. Another would be throwing knives. Throwing knives would be cool, like a garrote, because the Phantom was all about strangling his victims. So I would definitely have like a garrote as one of the weapons you would have to use to execute someone in a stealth kill. I would even have smoke bombs for either throwing down to escape multiple enemies, like in Assassin's Creed, or to make it to scare people and make it to come flying in and make an entrance. I would also have a sword. The Phantom did have swords in his repertoire, so I would like to have a sword, get new swords. All of that. The thing is this upgrade system, you wouldn't have someone to I think I would, now that I think about it, actually I would have to get to upgrade weapons or to forge them. You could do it yourself, but also you could buy other stuff from a vague, the Phantom ingratiates himself in a homeless community, and there's a guy who steals stuff, and you can buy stuff off of him, and he's don't ask where I got it, and obviously have it that he's just getting it off of corpses. He's like a grave robber. So I really like to play with that aspect. But yeah, I think a Phantom of the Opera game would be really cool. Really focus on where what happens after the events of the first movie. Really play with that, and again, really showcase one of the bosses I would have in the game, and someone who would compete with the Phantom is, if we want to make this more of a shared monster universe, another creature I would bring in here is Dorian Gray, the immortal who put his soul in a painting. So Dorian Gray would probably be one of your biggest enemies in the game. I would even have, even though they're from different time periods, they do kind of put them together. Another boss fight, maybe even as a reference, the Hunchback of Notre Dame, where you go to Notre Dame and you can either encounter little things of the Hunchback, like a bell with Esmeralda inscribed on one of the bells, or you actually encounter Quasimodo and fight him in a fight. something of that nature. But anyway, so you guys tell me in the comments below, what do you guys think of this story? Do you guys like it, hate it? Not story, but what do you think of this video game? Do you guys like it, hate it? Comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.